We are a part of the internet, which means we see a lot of complaining. The internet isn't for sharing cat videos anymore, it's about posting the best rage bait you can to get the most interaction. The one good thing about posting stuff you hate online is that we actually get some legit criticism in between all the toxicity that's out there. Sure, a lot of it's useless wall yelling, but if you sort through the hate, there is some useful stuff. Some actual good ideas that could improve a game, add content, and make it a better experience. As a Nintendo-centered content creator, a lot of Nintendo hate has come across my feed. Every day, there's someone yelling about something. But does Nintendo actually see this stuff, or are we truly all just talking to a wall? Quickly, I'm sponsoring my own video today. I just released a bunch of merch. Get some eepy vibes that we all have with some cozy clothes. Members, don't forget to use the super secret code for 10% off your order. You can find more information in the community post on YouTube. My favorite, the bear mug. It's just all really cute. I'm really happy with how it came out, and it's not Teespring. So the graphics should actually last on the clothes this time. Alright, back to the video. There is evidence of at least one person at Nintendo looking online to see how we all play their games. They do actually pay attention to some of the stuff that we complain about. For example, in Animal Crossing, we got sitting. Yeah, I know this one seems like such a small addition, but I remember it being such a big deal. We used to walk around our islands looking at villagers sitting on the ground by the beach or the river, and we had no way to join them. Except the few of us who maybe kept a chair in our pockets just to experience a little bit of the cuteness by sitting next to them. But it wasn't perfect. Whether or not they had this planned already, Nintendo did hear our cries and added sitting on the ground as a reaction fairly quickly. And by fairly quickly, I mean like 6 months after New Horizons released, but that's quick in game dev time, okay? It's like that friend that you have to lie to and say everything starts an hour earlier than it actually does. So if they're super late, well, at least that means they're still on time with everyone else. In the game dev world, it's kind of like that. Things take time, especially with a huge company like Nintendo. Concept art, models, animations all have to be approved by a few eyeballs before the concept gets thrown into the game. And then, you gotta make sure that that small mechanic you added, like sitting, doesn't completely break something else. It's a lot to deal with. Another thing we got, group stretching. Morning aerobics was an event that was held previously in the original Animal Crossing on the GameCube. You'd wake up at 6 AM every morning in August, head over to the wishing well, and see a bunch of neighbors just stretching around to some music. As long as the boombox was playing music, you could use the C-stick to follow along. Show up to enough of these events and talk to Koramora, and you got your own boombox that you could place in your house and do some calisthenics on your own. For some reason, people were begging for morning aerobics in New Horizons. It didn't help that the villagers would randomly perform the same movements in-game already, but again, we couldn't join in. So, Nintendo heard us and added a stereo to resident services so we could get our bodies moving at our own convenience, and not only at 6 AM in August. Nintendo also gave us a nice quality of life update when they added various special character stores to Harv's Island. Now you don't have to wait for a specific visitor to show up. You can waltz your butt over to Harv's no longer useless island and chat up with the vendor of your choice, whenever you want. Animal Crossing isn't the only example of Nintendo hearing our pleas. Splatoon actually got a few additions. Splatoon 3 is full of them, but there are a few that really stick out, like the Booyah Bomb special. This is derived from the Booyah Back meme that the community made where people pretended to be offended, I think pretended anyway, maybe they were actually offended, if they booyah'd to you and you did not reciprocate. It became polite to emote back. As a result of the newfound tradition, Nintendo made a whole special just to appease us and to make a little nudge at the meme. In Splatoon 3, the devs made Salmon Run open all day, which was previously only available to us at certain times, which was absolutely crazy. If you missed it, too bad for you. You had to wait until the next rotation. Also in Splatoon 3, we got these challenges which require players to use a specific weapon or special to fight against the other team. A little call out to all of those private battles that us creators were doing to change up the game in our communities back in Splatoon 2 to try to make some kind of fun for those 3 hours that we all streamed with you. So how could Nintendo make Animal Crossing better based on our recommendations? Okay, so they clearly listen to us and implement things that we want. There are a few mechanics or changes that the community has specifically been yelling about for years. And by yelling, I mean actually yelling. Just, can you yell on Twitter? Yeah. Like being able to craft from storage. They fixed this a little bit by giving us mobile storage sheds, but it could be better. I'm sure there's a reason why we can't craft from storage at this point. It just seems like such a simple thing to add in. I mean, mechanics-wise, not adding a whole new mechanic to a game, that's never simple. We've also been crying about how bland the villager personalities are, which is maybe why we've been begging to sit next to them all this time, just to have some kind of cute interaction. This is a big one that I think they should concentrate on for the future, although it is a huge undertaking. There's a lot of dialogue that has to be written for these games, and somebody sits there and types it all out. So for the next game, instead of typing out some nice little thing about how that leather couch looks nice, maybe have them slam my face into the leather couch. A good story and interesting daily gameplay really immerse you into a cozy experience. Bland storylines or shallow personalities remind you that you're playing a game and not actually living in a forest with a bunch of animals, since everything about this game is completely realistic, obviously. But man, I know why they changed the sass from the first game, I get it. Probably freaking out kiddos. I mean, I hate bubbles and I got called simple 3 years ago. I'm an adult. But it adds so much. That was one of my favorite things, was running around to all my villagers doing fetch quests and listening to how upset they were about whatever that day. And the biggest thing that we need, a better online experience. We can't really do anything right now. You just hang out with your friends on their island and that's it. There's nothing else unless we make it. That's probably the mechanic that needs the biggest overhaul. And I really hope Nintendo doesn't have selective hearing, because they need to listen to this one. But will they continue to listen to us? I think they will. Games in general are far more successful when the devs take player feedback seriously. Again, not all of it, you gotta sift through the baloney to find the actual criticism. The mechanics they add thanks to a community's ideas make our playtime that much more enjoyable. If a bunch of people are yelling about wanting a specific mechanic, it's probably for a good reason. Happy gamers means more players and more copies sold. There's a balance that needs to be upheld between the devs' time, the players' wants, and then, of course, the investors' best interests. Thanks to Nintendo being a publicly traded company, they gotta keep those stockholders in mind. And sometimes they aren't the most game-savvy individuals, but they do need to be kept happy. Nintendo understands this, and it's why not everything we cry for will be added. It's just not feasibly possible. It'll waste so much money, it'll waste devs' time, so they have to balance between what's worth it and what's not. But that being said, Nintendo is one of those companies that has a plan for a game, and they're very stubborn at sticking to that plan, which is a good thing, since most of them are just geniuses. But then we get things like you can only play Salmon Run for 12 hours a day, and what if I work? And I can't play. Sometimes the common sense isn't always there. It's stopping them from implementing very basic level ideas, like keeping Salmon Run open or crafting from storage. Hopefully they continue to improve Animal Crossing in gamers' best interests. I love that they hear us, and I'm excited to see what Nintendo has in store for the future. Do you think Nintendo listens to us? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!